thank you so much for coming into this. My name's Dennis Smeltzer. I'm the president of TSANet. I do have Paul Esch with me, and if there's anything that comes up that he would address that had to do with Paul is in charge of our strategy and business development, so I'd like to have him on here in case there's any Q&A. But let me set the stage to this. What we're going to do, this webinar is set up for people that maybe don't know anything about TSANet, or they're new to the organization, or they're new to TSANet. We've added a lot of new members lately. So what I'm going to cover is really just the basics of it. Not going to get into too much detail, but I am going to include in this also a little bit of a web demonstration, so you get in and actually cover the tactical side of it. So what we'll do is we'll kind of give you the overview of the organization. We want to talk about the different membership levels and the relationships that you might have. We'll talk about custom groups, and I want to show you that because this is something that a lot of companies are now starting to participate in and use TSANet for. So I want to make sure that you've got a good understanding about that. But we'll also cover the tactical piece. I mean, how do you engage another member, right? How do you do that? We'll talk about the different relationships you have and things that you need to do just really to be able to call and to escalate a call to other members. What we're not going to cover is we're not going to get into a lot of the legal framework, and we will get into the member web, but not the details behind it. There's a whole issue around case exchange and a lot of activity around that, giving you the ability to engage another member without ever leaving your CRM system. I'm not going to get into that on this call. I think it deserves a totally separate call, and we'll talk a little bit about microsites and things like that with custom groups, but we're not going to get into the detail on the knowledge and training exchange that have to do with those custom groups. Okay, so let's move on. And again, I've got just a few slides, and then we'll actually get right into the database. So everybody understands, right? TSANet is set up and was set up as a not-for-profit organization back 20 years ago. And the whole purpose and mission of this organization is to be able to provide the industry a mechanism for you to be able to establish relationships, and then for you to be able to engage and work with other companies in multi-vendor environments. And the point is not to finger point the customers. So that was the mission of the organization back over 20 years ago in '93, and really remains that today. The only real difference that we've had is we've expanded the infrastructure to be more robust and to include different relationships, and you'll see that in a minute. But as a not-for-profit, our motivation is to provide this service to the industry, to the members. And so the member dues that you pay goes right back into the membership, and that takes the form of new enhancements with a member web that we've just come out with, and things like case exchange and that kind of stuff. So a little bit different motivation for us as a not-for-profit, and you as members are have a voting power in this too. So understand that it's an organization. We want you, and it has been traditionally and historically a very member-driven organization. We want to keep it that way, and there's a lot of different ways for you to participate in. We do have several hundred members. You're going to be in probably more in line with the big companies, and you'll see that what we're showing right now on the member web is these people that are part of these open groups. But there is a whole another group of membership out there that we call limited members, and it is increasing daily. The other big change that TSANet has done is has become a real core relationship for a lot of companies. So what we've done is position TSANet as this is the way you're going to establish relationships, and this is the way that we're going to use it to implement to engage other companies when we need to do that. And that can be done in partner programs and all sorts of different things. But from a member's perspective, the legal and all that's already done, so it's a lot easier for many companies to just say, hey, we're just going to use TSANet and not go and bother and trying to do these one-offs with everybody. And you'll see that as well. So here's the membership level breakdown. And most of you on this call are going to be part of what we call the open groups, which is the many-to-many relationships of basic, and then some of you will be part of another group that is a subset of the basic TSANet called Premium TSANet. And this is the way that we got started, and the real beauty of this is you can join into one relationship, and by coming into that community, that ecosystem, you have a relationship with all of the companies that are in there. And you can call them and they can call you, but it has to be under a certain set of rules, because obviously your competitors are part of this, and as well as your partners. And so people kind of get uptight about, oh, well, I might have to talk to my competitor. Well, the rule around these open groups is there has to be a mutual customer that exists between you and the other partner. So you're never going to receive a phone call, or you're certainly not obligated to work with a competitor or someone else unless it involves one of your customers. Well, and then so you get into how do you define a customer, and I'll show you that when you get into the database a little bit, but in the basic TSANet, essentially we let each member define what a mutual customer is to them, which typically means they have a support contract. In the Premium TSANet, which raises the bar up to 24/7 and global requirements and obligations, then that mutual customer needs to be entitled at that level. So nobody is losing out on any service revenue here. What we're doing is making a path for you to be able to engage another partner in these open groups as long as it involves that mutual customer between the two of you, or the 3 or 4 of you, whatever it happens to be. And there is no restriction to the number of callers that can be placed. There is a restriction on the geo, which I'm not going to get into, but that's set up when you become a member of the organization. So in the basic TSANet, what we're saying is it's more of a next business day relationship. So companies are obligated to respond back to each other only in Sub 1s where it is a next business day SLA. You get into the Premium TSANet, then you've got a 24/7 obligation. You have a 24/7 escalation obligation, and you've got SLAs of 2 hours in a Sub 1, 4 hours in a Sub 2, and next business day in a Sub 3. So that's basically the difference between the Premium and the basic TSANet. Most of you are going to be participating in those relationships. Now, in addition, this is the custom group piece of this, and I'll show you the demo account that I've got set up, but really what you need to understand is that in addition to these open groups, a lot of you participate in these custom groups, and they come into 2 different sectors, so the peer groups and the partner groups. And the peer groups could be a simple one-to-one, so you might have a relationship with another company that is the basic TSANet, but maybe that's not good enough. Maybe you need something different, so you want to go establish a higher level relationship with another partner. Well, the benefit of TSANet is you've already agreed to these legal documents, so we just define the relationship, set it up in the database, and away you go. And I can do these in really short order, set up a one-to-one relationship. And if that's not good enough, maybe you want something a little bit more strategic. Maybe you've got something around a certain set of companies or a certain set of customers, so you want to make a custom many-to-many relationship where everybody can engage with everybody else, but it's a much smaller relationship and just only a few invitation-only type companies that you want to create. So as open group members, you have the ability to create these relationships, these peer groups, and participate in them at no charge. Some of you will actually be part of these partner groups over here, which is another area where from the host perspective, it's a one-to-many relationship, and from the partner perspective, it's a simple one-to-one relationship. So we've got companies that participate in these as well. This is what we call limited members, and this is where we've got hundreds of them out there, and a lot of them are upgrading into the open groups where you've got more value and more companies that can participate in it. But be aware that we do have this limited group of companies out there, and they participate in typically a partner program where they're going to be a partner of it, and the host company says, look, I've got this done under TSANet. You join into my group, and you're done with it. We've got landing pages and portals that they come into, and it's all an automated process for everybody to do. Okay? So I think what we'll do now is, before we go to this next slide, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the database a little bit and give you an idea of what this looks like. So what I've done here is I've logged in as my demo account. This one is with EMC Corporation. And this particular person is set up actually as what we call a program manager. So you have callers, you have program managers, and you have business managers. And the business and the program managers, there's not a lot of differentiation between the two of them, but what they do have is the ability to do administration functions up here. And since we released the new website, I'll just show you this real quickly. This is the group login capability area here, and then under company where you can go in and edit your departments or key codes if you use that. I'm not going to get into this so much, but your contact document wizard is down there. But just give you an idea that if you are a manager, you would actually see this capability up here, and there's some other reporting things. Another webinar that we'll do. This is your My TSANet space, and you notice there's different color tiles here, right? If it's a basic TSANet, then you're going to have that as far as the gold color. If it's premium TSANet, you will get this. And what this TSANet space right here is just simply a shortcut into taking you from the directory that you have down here. So when I mentioned about all these different companies, if you look at this is all the members that are part of TSANet, and again, there are hundreds of them, right? If I want to isolate this view just to see the companies that I have a relationship with, what I can do is I can click on My Relationships, and it's just going to bring up those companies that I can engage. All right, so if I wanted to go through the tree, we'll go to Microsoft here. Everybody likes to engage Microsoft. They're one of the companies we do more, so I'll go ahead and go through that tree, and I'll click on Microsoft. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring up all the different relationships that I have with Microsoft. Let me go back and try Actian here. There we go. So this is going to a customer process document, and this is how you're going to engage that company. And the document is actually split up into 3 different areas. First one being, what do I need to capture about our customer before I engage that company? And that's in this before you call area. So we're talking about right here that you can put in the hours of support, whether it's 24/7 or if it's 8 to 5. The products, if you want to differentiate in this particular document about these are the products that I'm covering, and then before you call, this is the information I'm going to have. And then as you get into the document down here, what you're going to have is how does this company want to be engaged in the basic TSANet? And that's what you're going to see documented down here, is how is that going to happen. And companies going to put in, they can put in additional information about knowledge base and all that kind of stuff, but it's really broken up into the main piece of how would you engage this company, and then down at the very bottom you're going to have an escalation path. So if for some reason something went wrong, you have the ability to engage and escalate a call to someone within that company. And that's really what it's all about. And up here I go back to My TSANet space. What this is really doing is just providing you a shortcut to the decision tree that's down here below in the member directory. The other thing that I'll mention is for these custom groups, there's 2 different methods that you can get a hold of them. I'm going ahead and click on this one custom group here, and what it's going to do is it's going to take me to a microsite. And within this microsite, I might have additional information like knowledge articles or information about training that I can get. But if I need to engage them, and this particular limited group is called MVEC, if I click on Collaborate, what it's going to do is it's going to bring up all those companies that are part of this particular custom group. And if I need to engage that company, then I just click on Collaborate, and it's going to bring up the same process document that you saw earlier, the difference being that this particular document is going to be just specifically for this particular group. There is also the ability, if it's a simple one-to-one relationship and you don't want a microsite, that you could have a tile up here in the My TSANet space or through the decision tree down below in the directory that would take you directly to a process document for that relationship. So not all of the relationships have got microsites, but most of them do. So you've got the difference between the basic, the premium TSANet, and then whatever the elements are for this custom group would be something that you should get from someone internally that will tell you what the elements of that relationship are, whether it's 24/7, what the SLAs are, when you should use it. You'll note, I'll go back here for just a quick, to show you, we've actually got a little clause in here that says this is when you should use this relationship. So a lot of people using these custom groups and understand the difference between the basic TSANet and the premium TSANet. Okay, let me go back to my slides and just cover these key takeaways for a second. So what I consider to be the key takeaways from this is that understand that we are an organization of members. We're not the typical company, a for-profit organization. We're a not-for-profit. If you're going to use this, which we really encourage you to do that, even though the volume levels have always been low, this has always been a really good thing to have when you get into those situations where you just need to work with another company in order to figure out what the problem is. So understand the relationship between the basic TSANet and these custom groups. Custom groups can have a totally different set of elements. Basic TSANet is going to be where that mutual customer needs to be involved. And at the premium TSANet, if you're part of that, just raises the bar up to that 24/7 level. The whole point of this is to not finger point the customers. And I've been doing this since we started the organization in '93, and I tell you that customers really get frustrated when they've been finger pointed around. This is a way for you to solve that problem. You can tell the customer, look, I have a way to work with these other companies. You don't need to start this process all over again. Let me work with this other company on your behalf. I might need to get some information from you a little bit so I can engage that company, but let me do that. And then you've got that escalation path down there at the bottom. Use that. If you need to, if that process didn't work for you to engage that other company, then use that escalation path. And if that doesn't work, then get a hold of us here at TSANet. That's what we're here for. We're here to make sure that everybody is complying with the relationships that they sign up to. So we need to know that. A lot of new things. You know, we just really touched the surface on you know, I talked a little bit about case exchange and some of the custom group stuff. We will have different webinars, and we do have this member help area that I encourage you to go to. Let me actually go back to the database and show you that real quickly. We do have this member help area right here, and if you go down, even we've got some information on case exchange and custom groups. There's a lot of information here, also on how to use this portal, which really you've been through this now, but we've got some videos on this, and how do you add a tile and how you edit process documents, contact documents, things like that's all right there. So we really tried to enhance this as well. So let me stop there. If you could, if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand in the panel there. Paul, anything that you wanted me to cover that I missed?
No, I think you got the main things. We got a final slide that just kind of shows the different resources. Again, this member help, certainly the primary one, but there's a few others that are probably good to highlight as well.
Thank you. I forgot about my last slide here. Here we go. And the LinkedIn group has got, what are we up to?
About 1,000 now.
Yeah, about 1,000 people that are part of our LinkedIn group. So good area for you to get. And then again, our features, member help. Hang on, Frank. I got your question. I'm going to unmute you here in just a second. Okay, go ahead, Frank. We should be able to hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great. Hi, this is Frank Döhler from Hitachi Data Systems. Thanks for this introduction. Yes, just a quick question on one of your initial slides. When you selected companies, you had a tab called My Relationship Companies, and I wanted to understand what's the difference. Don't I have a relationship by virtue of having a login with every company?
Yeah, sure. Let me go back to that. It's a good question, right? So if I were to go back, let me get back here. I'm going to go back to my TSANet space, which will take you to this directory page that you're referring to. So down here is what you're talking about, where some of these are grayed out, right? And what I did was I clicked on My Relationships, and it took filtered all the ones that were grayed out. The answer to your question is no. If you're a member of TSANet, you have a relationship with all of the companies that are part of the groups that you're part of. Most of these companies here, in fact, nearly all of them, are part of a one-to-one relationship with a host member company. So no, you don't have a relationship with them, and if you needed to establish a relationship with them, you can simply click on that company, and when you click on invite, it's going to let us know so that we can go back to that company and say, hey, Hitachi Data Systems said they would really like to have a relationship with you. It's really easy to establish, and then we pull them into either a custom group that you could create as Hitachi Data Systems, or we get them to upgrade into the open groups that you're a part of.
Oh, okay, thank you. So does this mean that the relationships that I have today with companies all started like this by a request?
No, actually, most of the way that Hitachi Data Systems came into this was they came into these many-to-many open groups. So the basic and the premium TSANet is how you got started, which established that pretty big community. It's over 100 companies that are in that, right? Okay. But what we then did was we went back to our big companies and said, look, if you want to establish a custom group and pull in a bunch of your partners that were, maybe they don't want to be part of the big open group, or maybe they just don't understand it, or they don't want to, or for whatever reason, then we gave those companies the ability to sponsor these groups, and that's where all these companies are coming from.
Okay, understand. Okay, that's clear. Thank you for that.
But I will tell you, Frank, good question again, that if you go back and look, since we've been doing this custom group stuff over the past year or so, most of the companies that have upgraded to the open groups come from this category of member. So if you got people that you want in there, that it's really easy for me to then go to that company and say, hey, Hitachi Data Systems wants you to be part of this. Let me show you how you do it. And that's where we upgrade these members.
Understand. Good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
It might be good as well, Dennis, to highlight the invited company. So I think that general question of what if there's a company here I see that's grayed out, but if you don't see a company, you can use the invite a company as well, and we'll take that and reach out to that company and try to pull them in as members.
Yeah, this is where we get our members, and this is the bulk of my time is going through and talking about TSANet, introducing it, and showing how people can get benefit out of the membership. So there's all of this button as well. You're absolutely right, Paul. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.